welcome back to the Goated Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and tonight we got a lot to talk about in the world of the NBA. Um, Over the past couple of days, a lot of players have been voicing their frustrations over the shooting of Jacob Blake in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and a bunch of players have decided to boycott these games in protest. And I'll say one thing. I created this podcast as just like an escape for myself in a way, as a hobby. I didn't want to, get into any political issues, but since this is the biggest story in the NBA right now, I pretty much have no choice but to talk about it, unfortunately. So just bear with me here. I understand like a lot of people may not want to hear about politics in their sports podcast, but that's just the world we live in currently, like you really can't escape it. So yeah, um so these discussions really started about yesterday. That's the first it was really publicly reported. We were hearing that the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors were thinking about sitting out game one of the Eastern Conference semifinals on Thursday. And so, yeah, I heard that. I didn't think much of it. I thought the players were just frustrated, like they needed a couple days to, collect their thoughts. And then I thought, the players are just going to go out there and play. But unfortunately, today, it started with the Magic and the Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks decided not to show up for the game and forfeited it basically, but the Orlando Magic decided to decline their forfeit. So basically all that did was just postpone the game. So yeah, there's no winner or loser in that series in particular. But pretty much every other NBA team, as well as every other sport, has followed suit. Like the Major League Baseball canceled a bunch of games for today and tomorrow. Um, Soccer has as well. Just everyone is kind of in protest right now about the shooting, and it's understandable. It is, and it's really tough. This is a tough situation for the world. This is probably the craziest year ever. I was gonna say this is the craziest year for the NBA. With Kobe Bryant's death in January, and then with the coronavirus shutdown in March, and now this, it's just, I really don't know when it's going to end. At this point, nothing would surprise me. There are talks about possibly canceling the season. And the two teams leading that charge are the two teams in Los Angeles, the Clippers and the Lakers. LeBron James was very passionate in the players' meeting today, calling for change and stuff like that. Apparently, him and Kawhi spoke up, and they were the ones who really led the charge in terms of threatening basically that they're not going to play, and the impact that will have on the NBA playoffs. The NBA does know that if they lose the two LA teams for the playoffs, like they're going to lose a lot of money, and it's a very difficult situation because both of those teams have leads in their respective playoff matchups. The Lakers have pretty much closed out this Portland team. Damian Lillard, like I said in my last show, is out for the season, so the Lakers are probably going to close them out today. But like I said, the game got postponed, and the Clippers just went up 3-2 against the Mavericks yesterday. So, but to them, it's a more important issue right now to focus on the injustice that's happening in the world. My only thing is just I'm not understanding what this is going to do really. Like, yes, it's clearly going to get people talking, but racist and racism is always going to be something that's in the world, and it sucks, but it's just something that people have to deal with, unfortunately. And me myself, I've experienced racism in my life as well, and it's hard, definitely it is. But the way I look at it is that you have to ignore those types of people. You have to keep those types of people out of your life, at all costs. Surround yourself with people who actually care about you. And as long as you make the right decisions in your life, anybody can succeed, no matter what color you are. And I hope that's a message that a bunch of players try to preach to some of these young kids who look up to them, because they're very impressionable, like anything that their favorite athletes or celebrities say, they're pretty much going to run with it and take it as gospel, right? And I don't know, I just think I think it's a bad thing to do, to tell somebody their whole life that they pretty much have no chance of succeeding because of their skin color. It just it makes you not want to try, Like, I think a lot of black kids, including myself, are brought up that way, believing like because of what you look like, you're always going to be at a disadvantage. And I believe that in some ways. I think there are people out there who will not hire you because you're black, or they won't sell a house to you because you're black. And like I said, it's sad that there's people in this world that are like that, but you know, like they'll they they'll get what's coming to them is what I'll say, At the end of the day, what goes around comes around. Like you got to treat people with respect no matter what they look like, you know? And so yeah, I'll just move on to some of the major details that happened in the meeting. Um like I said, it started with the Bucks really this morning, and a lot of players were very frustrated with Milwaukee because they kind of made this decision to boycott without consulting any of the other teams. And so when the Bucks did it, some of the other teams kind of felt forced to do it as well, even if they didn't want to. Because like I said, only the Lakers and the Clippers voted to not play anymore. All the other teams want to play still. So that caused some issues. And yeah, let's go to CJ McCollum made some comments. He's saying that the NBA needs a plan of action, in terms of ownership. It seems like they really want the owners to, pledge, I'm assuming, more money to charities, to the Black Lives Matter movement, whatever, right? I'm not really sure what they want, because it seems like the NBA has supported the players every step of the way since the season's been resumed, like they got Black Lives Matter written on the court. Every commercial that you watch during the NBA playoffs is some sort of, uh racial equality message, right? And that's a great thing, that everyone would root for that, so I just don't understand why these players are so upset at the NBA owners when there's not much, like I said, that they can really do in terms of making a real change. It's hard to change the way people think, That's why, like I said, you just got to let those people be. There's nothing you can really do about them. Um, and Jaylen Brown had a very impactful comment, in my opinion. Jaylen Brown's been one of the most vocal athletes when it comes to things like this. And he was basically saying, like, for all the players that do want to go home, he's saying, don't go home because you're just lonely and you're tired of being in the bubble and you just want to go home and see your family and stuff like that. He's saying if you choose to leave and really try to make a difference. Don't just leave and go home. Like go to a protest, donate to a charity, anything like that. Anything that could really help make a change in this situation. So I really respect Jaylen Brown for that. You know, One thing, I may not agree with him 100%, but he definitely believes in what he's saying. So all you can do is respect a man who stands up for what he believes. And also, a big problem with the season being shut down, like let's say the season is shut down, okay? Let's say that happens. They're predicting it'll be like a 35% cap hit, and it would force them to basically nullify the CBA, which would then in turn have this thing called the force majeure provision activate, which would take away all the athletes' salaries because they wouldn't be able to play anymore. They would have to file a new CBA, so it would be like the NBA lockout all over again. And that would just cause so much more problems. One player, a named star, was quoted of saying, we're already here. We might as well finish what we started. And I agree with that. I believe they should just finish it out. The NBA's gone through a lot to be able to put these players in a safe place to be able to finish out the season. And I understand there are things going outside in the world, but I believe even in the bubble and just playing these games can inspire a lot of people to try to make change that way. So I believe leaving would just be a rational decision. I believe a bunch of the players are very emotional right now, for obvious reasons, for understandable reasons. And like I said, it's really tough. And yeah, Chris Mannix recently tweeted, he's saying it's unclear exactly what more the NBA owners can do. They have committed to the social justice movement. They have supported players during anthem demonstrations. They have committed $300 million over the next 10 years to economic empowerment in the black community. So they've already done all that, but it seems like the players want even more. And if the players have something specific that they want, they should just let the NBA owners know what exactly that is so we could just keep this train moving, right? You can't just say, oh, we want this, we want change, but you don't even know what the change is yourself. It's just, it's a, it's a very messed up situation right now. Um, but yeah, like I said, craziest year ever. I swear to God, it is. It just seems like with all this frustration in the world, from people just being locked into their houses for weeks on end, and just the George Floyd situation, it just seemed like everyone just sort of snapped, you know, and it's really sad to see, how um just how far the world has fallen, like it seems like everything that anyone does, people just raise it up to 1,000,000%, like someone, like with certain things like cancel culture, right? Like someone will tweet something from over 10 years ago and people will bring it up, and then people will lose their job today because of that. And I'm just like, that's just insane to me that people are just so offended by everything. Some things are offensive, obviously, but not everything deserves to be treated the exact same, like just everything you could think of. Like Aunt Jemima, she got canceled. Uncle Ben's got canceled. Uh, what else? A bunch of celebrities got accused of sexual assault. All this stuff, just everything was just happening at once. It's just like I said, it seemed like the world was just losing their mind collectively, all at the same time. And yeah, it's a very sad world we're living in, but I'm hoping the best for the future. I'm hoping that the NBA can continue its season, because for me personally, as well as I believe a lot of people, the NBA has been a great stress reliever. I love watching these games in these tough times. It's just great just to sit back and just watch the sport that you love, and you know, it just makes you kind of forget about everything else that's going on in the world. So I'm just hoping that it continues, and if it doesn't, I'll probably have another show tomorrow because they're probably going to make a decision on it tomorrow. And with that, guys, everyone have a good night. Thank you.